Are you ready, Monarchs fans? It's time for the Old Dominion Football Show with Bruce Rader and Coach Bobby Wilder.
Following their lopsided loss at Western Kentucky, the Old Dominion Monarchs not only needed a win at Texas El Paso, but needed an impressive victory to keep their bowl hopes alive and stay in the hunt for the Conference USA's East Division Championship. Well, they did just that with a 10-point win. But that was then. Tomorrow night, a home game against Marshall. Will this finally be the night that ODU beats the Thundering Herd? Let's talk about that. The Old Dominion Football Show starts now. I'm Bruce Rader along with Coach Bobby Wilder. Now, I know how disappointed that you and the coaches and the players were after that Western Kentucky loss. Then you had to travel halfway across the country to play at Texas El Paso, but you get the big win.
Yeah, we do, Bruce. Really proud of everybody in the organization. 2,011 miles, the longest trip in the country this year for a conference game. And we started fast, Bruce. We did a great job. Take the opening kickoff, go 75 yards for a touchdown. First series on defense, we get an interception by Sean Carter and a field goal. Second series by the defense, Bruce, they cause a fumble. So a really fast start to the game and the way we finished the game, Bruce. The fact we ran on a 21-0 run in the third quarter. Defense answered, offense scoring points, big win for our program.
Now, tomorrow night you take on a famous Marshall team, a team that you've never been able to beat. Now, Marshall has struggled. A bad home loss to Charlotte followed up last week with that loss to Southern Miss, but this is a bear thundering into SB Ballard Stadium, and you don't want to poke the bear.
Now, 33-8 in their last 3 years, Bruce, clearly the best overall program in Conference USA. They've won the last 4 bowl games. They're struggling right now. They're having some injury situations. They have not been the dominant team you're used to seeing from Marshall in terms of running the ball and stopping the run. That's where they've been the best team clearly the last 3 years. But very dangerous, Bruce. Outstanding quarterback, really good on special teams. This is a team that has good football players. We're going to need to be ready to play.
All right, Coach, let's break a few things down. We'll start with running back Ray Lowry, the leading rusher in the conference last year, who carried the ball last weekend 17 times for 131 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, Ray was really the only bright spot in your game against Marshall last year, but he seems to be well healed from that ankle injury.
Finally, Bruce, we have Ray and Jeremy. They're both healthy as we head into the 9th game of the season. And last week, Bruce, we only ran 52 plays on offense. His 17 carries were a third of our offensive plays with the style UTEP played, ball control, run that 40-second clock down to 1. But those 52 plays, 400 yards, Ray had 2 explosive runs in the second half, Bruce, that we're on the headset. I'm talking to the offensive coaches saying he's back.
Now, Ray and Jeremy can't run, and David Washington can't pass the ball without a good offensive line. And speaking of lines, the defensive line is playing well as also.
Yeah, the offensive line, Bruce, one senior, Troy Butler, the right guard, who's playing good football, but those are all underclassmen up there. And then the defensive line, Rashad Coward is the only starter who's a senior on the defensive line, so we're still fairly young. But what we're learning, Bruce, about our offensive and defensive line, they're learning. Coach Commissione, our D-line coach, Coach Malone, our O-line coach, they're listening to them. They're improving. They're working at it each week, and we're getting a little bit better there each week, Bruce.
And, Coach, 2 outstanding coaches tomorrow night, Bobby Wilder and Marshall coach Doc Holliday.
Yeah, Doc's got a little more of the resume at this point. The fact they've won and done what they've done, Bruce, I consider them one of the top 3 or 4 group of 5 programs, but we're getting better. That's where we want to go, Bruce. We want to go to the point where Marshall has established themselves. We're trying to do it by redshirting players, getting better, improving, and we're going to need some good support from the 12th Monarchs tomorrow night.
And you know what I always say, Coach, it's all about the quarterback. You get the run game going. David Washington can then take his shots down the field, and David is really having a good year.
He is. He's playing good football, Bruce, right now. He's only had 3 turnovers in 8 games. That's some of the fewest in the country of any quarterback. He was 14 for 22 for 262 yards and had probably the play of the year, Bruce, in the third quarter. We're down 13-10. He scrambles to our sideline, about to go out of bounds, flips a no-look pass down the field to Melvin Vaughn. Melvin Vaughn catches it, runs over 2 defenders. That ignited our sideline. Those are the plays that David Washington is capable of making.
And real quick, what about the special teams, huh? It's
Wow.
not just offense and defense.
Now, this was a big improvement, Bruce. We did not perform well at Western Kentucky this week. We started out the game on kickoff. Brad Davis, 2 to the end zone. We tackle him on the 5, the 11. Brad Davis makes a career-long 43-yard field goal. Bailey Cade, our punter, 42.5-yard average. Much better in the coverage unit. So we're making progress there. The players are taking a lot of pride in improvement.
And real quick, Brad Davis, a walk-on. It shows you players out there that even if you don't get a scholarship, you can still play major college football.
Boy, you sure can, Bruce. 5 of our starters on defense right now are former walk-ons. That speaks a lot to what you just said.
Wow. Hey, still to come, Coach's favorite segment. It's the Coach's Corner. Send me your questions at bruce.rader@wavy.com. And O'Shane Zimenez has been a force on the defensive line. He ain't scared of anything. Even Nathan Epstein in the 1-minute drill. That's coming up next on the Old Dominion Football Show.
Welcome back to the Old Dominion Football Show, the 1-minute drill, and joining us this time, it is the big O'Shane Zimenez, defensive end. Quarterbacks fear this guy. He's a big man. O'Shane, you're a big guy. I'm assuming that a hefty meal is something that is important to you. What is the one meal you can't do without?
I definitely have to say spaghetti. It's quick. Throw 5 pounds of beef in the pot and just throw some spaghetti sauce on the noodles, and you got you a good meal for a couple days.
5 pounds of meat?
Yeah, 5 pounds of meat.
What was your favorite NFL team growing up?
Oh, definitely Philadelphia Eagles. I was a big Donovan McNabb fan. Terrell Owens, Brian Dawkins, all those guys.
You're a big, imposing defensive lineman. Is there anything that scares you?
Nah, definitely not. Well, other than my mother. My mother definitely scares me. I'm terrified of my mom, and I always will be to the day I leave this earth. I'm terrified of her.
How does she scare you?
It's just from when I was younger, she just would never played around with me, so it just stuck with me. It's something that'll never go away.
Kind of staying with the same theme. Any movie that scares you? Any movie that you don't want to see?
The scariest movie I've ever seen is The Grudge. The Grudge is the scariest movie I've ever seen. I'll never watch it again.
What is the one thing that gets you fired up more than anything prior to game day?
Definitely just hearing the 12 Monarchs out there when we're in the locker room before we run out, hearing those guys, hearing everybody fired up to see us, it just gets me all fired up.
O'Shane Zimenez, he's quarterback hunting all year. O'Shane, why don't you say goodbye to the Monarch Nation?
All right, goodbye, Monarch Nation. See you Saturday.
All right, Coach, tell us about the big guy from Hertford County
Now,
High School.
Let's set the record straight, Bruce. His mother is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. I think a better word would have been respect for his mom. Business finance major, has been a Dean's List student. Bruce, he is the only sophomore on our 11-man leadership council. Tremendous respect from his teammates.
Well, that's saying a lot. And when we come back, it's the weekly Coach's Corner segment where Coach Wilder answers questions from you. Coming up next on the Old Dominion Football Show. All right, time for the Coach's Corner. Remember to send me your questions at bruce.rader@wavy.com. First question, Coach Robin Norfolk asks, at the Conference USA level, what is the most difficult position to recruit?
Well, the hardest positions to get are the offensive and defensive line, just by pure numbers. You need 5 offensive linemen in the game. You'd like to be 4 deep, so that's 20. D-line, you need 4 in the game to be 4 deep, that's 16. And you notice the difference, Bruce, when we're playing Conference USA, and then next year we play Virginia Tech, North Carolina, the size. So we're trying to grow them, recruit them, develop them. Good question.
All right, next question is from Stephen Great Bridge. He wants to know, nice bounce-back win against UTEP after the Western Kentucky blowout loss. How did you and your staff keep the kids' confidence up?
Well, the number one thing we always talk about is trying to be 1-0 each week, and you approach each opponent with that mindset. We're trying to be 1-0 this week, and we've always done a good job handling adversity. You need to do that as a head coach. You need to do it as assistant coaches. The players look at you and your reaction, and if your reaction is you're feeling sorry for yourself or you're blaming them, that's how they react. My reaction's the same every week. We're going to be 1-0 this week. We're going to do it with a great attitude. And I don't care if it's football or life, Bruce. If you're going to turn a setback into a comeback, you got to have a positive mental attitude. Thanks for the question.
All right, here we go. Big game under the lights. Tomorrow night at SB Ballard Stadium, Old Dominion against Marshall, and I mean a key Conference USA showdown. A win by the Monarchs would be their 6th, making them bowl eligible for the first time in school history. Is that something you guys talk about?
be making school history. That would be a pretty incredible accomplishment. Our focus is being 1-0 because what we're talking about right now, Bruce, we have 1 loss. We're tied with 2 teams in first place in the East. That's the goal.
All right. We'll talk about the game next week and every Friday night here on Fox 43. For the Old Dominion Football Show, enjoy the game tomorrow night. Come out early and tailgate.
Hope to see everybody there in the seat, Bruce.
Oh, in your
Loud.
seats, right.
Wearing black.
Oh, wearing black.
Wear black, yeah. The Monarchs are going to wear black. It's a blackout. Hoping all the fans will wear black as well.
All right, you got it. You have your marching orders, as do the players. See you tomorrow night
Please.
at SB Ballard Stadium.
Did we say please?
Yes, say please. Good night, everybody.